To meet you too.
Hello.
Okay. Hey everyone. Welcome to Heart Centered Tarot. As always, my name is Marina and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. And join me in welcoming Mel Dwyer.
Hey, Marina, it's so nice to meet you. We were just talking about how
Very
cold
nice
it
to
is.
meet you too.
We were just talking
Yeah.
about how cold it is here in Chicago.
Yeah. Comparing weather, comparing Celsius and Fahrenheit. And you know what? Yeah. All I know is it's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's
But we
-5, I think, here. So that would be like -20. I didn't do
yes,
that in my head. I
yeah,
looked it up.
yeah. It's we've been lucky in the last 3 days, like Sunday, yesterday, and today, that the temperature here has like we're sitting at about zero right now.
So that's
Um,
32.
yeah, so we've had a little reprieve, but we got lots of snow, and it was like -32, -38, -43. It was not fit to go outside, and that's -43 like Celsius. You can just imagine
Let
it.
me figure that out.
Yeah,
-43 Celsius. -43, right?
yeah, -43.
That's like 45 below Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
That's cold as Siberia.
yes,
Did you
yeah,
have a lot of snow?
yes, yeah. We got a fair amount of snow. Um, a lot of it over the last 3 days um, has kind of disappeared, right? Because we have a phenomena here especially in Calgary. It's called a Chinook.
A Chinook?
A Chinook,
What
yeah.
is a Chinook?
A Chinook is where our proximity to the mountains, and because we're in kind of a little valley, okay, um, when the warm air comes in, it settles over the city, and then the cold air comes in and goes over top of the warm air, so it just warms everything up.
Got it.
Um, Chinook is an Indian word that means snow eater.
Wow.
So yeah, so when the Chinook comes in, the weather gets nicer, the snow disappears rapidly, right? So you end up with a lot of slush and so on and so forth on the roads. But
Chinook, it sounds like I had that disease when I was a kid.
yeah, I can't come on Chinooking.
They have a vaccine for that.
Yes, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
We were in
So
Hawaii. The temperature was 75 Fahrenheit, not
yes,
Celsius.
yeah,
Um,
nice,
but it was,
nice.
yeah, I can tell you, that's 23 Celsius. And then we came home to
Yeah,
below zero weather. But, they said we were
cold
going to have this big
reality.
snowstorm and they were going 6 inches. And for us, 6 inches is nothing. I think
Yeah,
we got home, there was about 3 or 4 inches on the ground, which in Chicago, that doesn't even faze us.
yeah, yeah.
The most I've ever seen it snow here was 23 inches, and that was about 10 years ago.
Wow.
That was huge. But those poor people in Western New York, 4 feet
I
of
know.
snow.
I know. I know. I
That's
just,
like
I,
to hear.
yeah, we have had not all that often, but we will have those storms every once in a while where, yeah, you can literally see the snow growing, and then yeah, trying to do anything, it's impossible.
Yes, Bora Bora Marina did say Chinook. Somebody asked if you said Chinook.
Chinook, yes, 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 yes. So hey, Bora Bora. Hey, Teresa. Hi, Sherry H. We've got Jamie Johnson. We've got Viviana here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you
Thank you.
for helping me welcome Mel. So hopefully we're going to get some good. And yeah, D Rose is here. Yeah.
Sherry's here, Voices from the Swamp.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so I've got I've got a list of questions I thought maybe we can kind of take a look at,
All right.
and yeah, hopefully you're up for that. Um, just a couple things before I start. I do have a little um, quote unquote reading prayer. Okay, it's very short. If you'd like to join in, fine. If it's not your cup of tea, that's fine, and that's for everybody. Think about something that makes you happy, that brings you pleasure. So, but this is sort of how I like to start the readings. So, deep breath in, and I call on my guides, ancestors, angels, and ascended masters to protect me as I receive and deliver these messages from Universal Spirit. May this reading and the messages provided be guided by and delivered with love, clarity, and truth. Reveal to me what should be known now, and keep from me what should remain secret. Guide me to always manifest the highest possible good for myself, my spiritual family, and humanity at large. Amen.
Ditto.
Yes. Yeah. So while we've been, sitting here and chit-chatting about, I could just sit here for the next hour and just chit-chat.
But I gotta do this again. Oh, somebody said that I share this on my community tab, and I forgot to put it on there. I apologize. I can put it on there real quick. That's not a problem. I forgot about it.
You know what? The people who need to see it are going to see it, and they're going to find it.
We'll do it again. How's that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be lovely. So,
is Marina Russian?
Sorry?
Is Marina a Russian name?
The name is known in Russia. It actually originated in Malta. But I was born in the former Yugoslavia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now 7 different countries.
Yes. Yeah. So I am now Croatian by birth. But
I love Croatia.
Isn't it beautiful?
People used to tell me go to Croatia, and I'd be like, for what? Stubborn me,
Yeah.
In 2018, I went for the first time and fell in love with it. And I've gone for a yacht tour going up the Croatian coast this summer, 28 people. And so Dubrovnik is magic.
Yes.
Every place we went, it just gets better and better.
I know.
Like Split, and let's see, oh my God, Hvar and Korčula, and
Hvar is
Hvar's amazing.
Ooh, my heart! I just got shivers all over me.
Especially when you go up on top of the fortress and you look out.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful. And the fields of lavender. I'm allergic to lavender, but the fields are beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And the salt is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Kerka, all over. I mean, all the way up the coast.
It's just, it's lovely. The people are really, they're really nice. They're friendly.
Oh, it was amazing.
The food. Oh my God.
When we were, I can't think of Šibenik, I think.
Yeah, Šibenik. Yeah.
Šibenik. We had these oysters on the half shells. They were the raw oysters. They were now I've had oysters here in Chicago, but these, oh my God, with the salt, with the sea salt they used and the lemon, and they were just delicious. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And when you were in Šibenik, did you have kremšnita?
What is that exactly?
Kremšnita. It's a dessert. And Šibenik is famous, world famous for this dessert. You can have it with egg yolks or egg whites, but it's, quite a...
I think we did have something like
thick.
that.
And it just, there's a pastry layer on the bottom and sometimes a pastry layer on top. And you put it in your mouth and it just melts.
I just love Croatia. I want to put another trip together there because this yacht tour was amazing. For me, it was work, but I loved it. And I had people that came on from YouTube, so it was really cool.
Oh, nice.
And I've got one opening on my Africa tour in June, and I got a trip to Italy in October. So, I just take products that already exist for Mayflower cruises and tours, and if I get a big enough group together, I get a free trip, so I get to travel.
Yeah.
Do you speak Croatian?
I do.
I just know kako si.
Jako dobro. Kako ste vi?
Dobro.
Dobro. That's all you need to know.
I don't speak any of the Slavic languages. Like in Russian, I just know ya ničego ne znaju хорошо по-ruski. That's about it.
Yeah.
But I speak Spanish. I understand Italian, German, English, and I'm learning Hawaiian and I'm learning Greek. I love languages.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you know what? I find that, I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I think enough that I could make myself understood if I needed something, but not sure that I'd want to get into a lengthy conversation, with anyone. But yeah, I enjoy hearing other people's languages. I enjoy learning them and to me, Spanish. I always think that someone speaking Spanish could be saying, why don't you go to HELLUBITCH? And I would go, oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah, they could be swearing at you and it sounds good.
It sounds poetic. It sounds like, oh, tell me more.
Even when I swear in Spanish, it's like, this doesn't sound like, this doesn't feel like weird to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like what I wanted to. Yeah.
Maybe in German, but not in Spanish.
Yeah.
I love languages, but but Croatia is just absolutely amazing. We went down to Montenegro for a day, and then that's a different country, but predominantly mostly in Croatia. And I just fell in love with the country. There's so many wonderful places, but Croatia is absolutely my favorite. It's just beautiful there. It's gorgeous. So.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were there?
It's been a good number of years.
Oh, you got to go back.
I know, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to. But
I see a trip.
Oh, thank you. Yes, let's manifest it. Yeah.
There you go.
I would. Excuse me. I would definitely love to go back because I miss it. I miss the ocean.
The hardest thing, they call it the sea over there. They don't say the ocean; they say the sea.
The sea. Yeah.
The hardest thing for me are the chas. It's like there's a place called, it's, if I get it right, I gotta think. Pučišća. It's a town on the island of Brač or Bol.
Okay.
It's called Pučišća, but it's got all these little.
Yeah. On the S, it would have a V, and on the C, it would have a little slash. Right? Yeah.
Pucis Pučišća, ISCA, but Pučišća. I think it's Pučišća. It's hard to say.
Yeah, they can be tricky. They can be tricky sometimes, but
you've got the hard like Grač, and then the soft. It's like
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's speaking of foreign languages and the hard sounds and so on. What I thought we could maybe take a look at is I was looking at the news, and the Russia's foreign minister, and I wrote his name down here, Sergei Lavrov. He's calling for the West to have maximum restraint in dealing with Russia. They want to minimize the nuclear risk. And I thought,
that's a threat.
Yeah.
That is a clear-cut threat. I tell him to take his nukes and put them where the sun doesn't shine. We're not gonna kowtow to that.
No, absolutely not. So I thought, well, maybe let's just take a look at that, because my question is there any possibility Putin will use nuclear weapons? What's your feeling?
My guides are telling me that, his top people wouldn't allow him to do that. And I don't think it's just that easy to press the button. I think it's funny what's going on now. I just read, it's odd you brought up Russia, because I just saw something where a Pavel Antov, he was a Russian lawmaker and business person. He was a sausage tycoon, believe it or not.
Yes.
And he spoke up against Trump and mysteriously fell from a third-floor hotel room while vacationing in India, and the person that was traveling with him was found dead in his hotel room. Wait, I'm sorry. Vladimir Bidenov was found dead in his hotel room, and they said the Indian police said it was a stroke, and then they said that Antop was so upset he jumped off the building, which is a crock of BS.
I know. It's amazing how many Russians have no experience with windows because they keep falling out of them. You know?
Or gravity.
Yeah, or gravity. Yeah, like, you know, I'd like to know how many of them commit suicide by jumping out of the basement window.
There you
go. I'm sure that happens a lot.
I think there's been 6 or 7 people that have died or more mysteriously. And so I think the Indian police are probably, my guides tell me, being paid by people from Moscow to cover it up. Yes. And so when Russia's foreign minister, whatever his name is, that is a clear-cut threat. I do not foresee the use of nuclear weapons because they know that if they do that, then it's going to be, as Linda Grindle would say, Armageddon.
Yeah. Well,
when they said that, when Putin said that if Sweden, Finland, and somebody else joined NATO, that he would consider nuclear weapons. They joined NATO and nothing happened.
I know. I think one of the worst things that Russia and Putin, especially Putin, could ever have done was to invade the Ukraine, because what it did is it showed the facade of the military, and the years and years where, you know, everyone was kind of hesitant about pushing Russia because, you know, their military and their weapons and this and that. What he did was show that, the emperor has no clothes. Like there's nothing there. So that was my feeling when, you know, when someone says, well, you know, you have to restrain yourself because, you know, we don't want to ratchet things up so that we're using nuclear weapons. Go ahead, push the button. You're going to be as dead as I am. So, you know, who's going to be left behind to enjoy this? Like, if you have nuclear weapons, based on what I've seen so far, I'm not sure that you do.
Well, I've said all along that when T. Rump was president, Cheeto Head.
Mm-hmm.
I can't finish this sentence because
I know.
Never mind. Anyway. Putin was influencing him. They were both working to weaken NATO. That's why Trump made those comments, because Putin thought if he could make NATO weak, that he could take over Ukraine like that, go in through, I think, Moldavia or whatever it is, and then go through Romania. He also then thought maybe he could go into Slovakia. And then, you know, go up to the Baltic republics, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And you know what? He sorely underestimated the Ukrainian people. And they will not give up. They are not going to give up. They will
nor should they. Nor should they. Yeah, the other thing that I read is that, yes, you know, Putin is saying, well, you know, of course, he's always ready to negotiate. You know, he wants to negotiate. It's everyone else that's. No, you don't. No, you don't want to negotiate. You want to appear like you want to negotiate. But what you want to do is say, well, I'm taking this and this and this. Right?
Well, I think the other part of it is that, you know, Putin said that any country that joined NATO after 1990 or something, he wouldn't accept because he wants the former Soviet Union back. Remember, he's ex-KGB. And, you know, he's pulling KGB tactics with killing all these people. And, you know, he just never realized what he had bitten off with Ukraine. The other thing is, you know, reminiscent of when Hitler had a non-aggression pact with Stalin, and then decided, you know, after he said he wouldn't go through Czechoslovakia, which he did. When he went into Poland, that started World War II. And then Hitler decided to invade the Soviet Union. And for a while, he was winning, but he underestimated the winter.
Yes.
And that's what was the turning point of the war.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Putin in Ukraine, he's underestimated the winter. Even though a lot of Ukrainians don't have electricity and things like that, but Putin's soldiers also aren't keeping warm.
Exactly.
This winter in Ukraine is going to be brutal, and it's going to play havoc with the Russian soldiers.
Yes, and they have to go to war and bring their own food, bring their own clothing, their fat. What kind of war is that? That's it.
Right. You're going to get drafted, but you have to bring your own food, your own sleeping bag, and your own clothing, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, bring your own weapon if you have any.
Correct.
And by the way, can a couple of you get together and go out, you know, like rent a car, do whatever. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Hold on.
So, you know,
hold on. I have to
I'm not worried about the Putin thing. I mean, you know, I heard today that they're almost taking back Crimea, which I had predicted that Ukraine would do. And I said, you know, my guides show me that the Ukraine would be whole again. And I'm seeing a lot of Russian soldiers defecting to Ukraine, a lot of people from Belarus defecting to Ukraine. And once Putin is overturned, and he will be overthrown, Lukashenko of Belarus, who's in Putin's hip pocket, he's going to be dog meat. So,
I think my feeling is that Putin's days are numbered.
As are Trump's.
As are Trump's. Yeah.
And Lukashenko.
Putin has been with the illness that he has. And I think maybe that was part of the reason that he went into Ukraine. I think he was going to go in there anyway, but the fact that he got sick and he knows it's terminal. I mean, you know, there's not enough money to buy you another life, right? So he escalated things because he wanted to fulfill what he thinks his destiny is, which is to bring back the old Russia.
The old Soviet Union.
The old Soviet Union, yeah.
It's going to happen.
And nobody wants that.
You know, Chicago has a very huge population here of people from the former Soviet Union. Some from Ukraine, some from Belarus, some from the Baltic republics. You know, and from Mother Russia as well. But a lot of my friends who are Russian are telling me they have relatives left in Russia, and their relatives there are telling them how bad it is in Russia. You know, think about it. One day you had your designer clothes, you had this, you had that, and then everything's gone. You know, women can't get sanitary supplies. You can't get diapers for babies. You can't get food for babies. You can't get food. The shelves are empty. You know, the banks, forget about it. You can't use your Visa, MasterCard anymore.
I know.
There's no more McDonald's, God forbid. You know, so, you know, many Russians dislike Putin. Some like him, but the majority can't stand him. And so,
no, because of the hardline policy, taking away all kinds of things from the people, making the people go without, while he's building himself this huge house that anyway, that's I could go on forever and ever. And hey, thanks all the new people coming in.
Well, look at what happened to Antop because he criticized a missile attack on an apartment building in Kiev that killed a child, and then they retracted it. Well, Putin, here you go. If you say anything against Putin, you end up pushed out a window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. We're going to need to have lessons for Russians going forward on what a window is and how to handle it. And it's to the point that,
which tells me that the Indian police are complicit in this because they're covering it up.
Oh, of course. yeah, yeah, because the way that I heard that was that, yeah, the two guys were traveling together. The one that quote unquote committed suicide, um, his friend had died mysteriously, or it was heart attack or something, whatever it was, had died on the second fellow's 65th birthday.
Right.
Right. And he was just so um, sad and inconsolable about his friend dying on his 65th birthday that he killed himself.
I don't think so. I'm not buying that.
No, no, me either.
The autopsy would show if they'd done them here.
Yes, but isn't it funny that both of them were cremated?
Of course, you burn of course you burn the evidence.
Yeah, it was at the request of their families that they were cremated. Like, really?
It was somebody in the Kremlin paying off the Indian officials to like.
Yeah, absolutely. Normally, you know what, I would give them the benefit of the doubt, but given what's going on in India and some of the things that are happening in the different provinces in India, yeah, no.
Speaking of, if anybody gets a call saying they want to adjust your cable bill or about your car insurance or this or that, then you hear that click and you hear that accent, it is a scam. Hang up.
Yeah. Yeah, I discovered today, as I went to go make a purchase on Amazon because that's my favorite place to shop. So I made a purchase, and about half an hour later, I get an email saying your credit card was declined. And I thought, what? No, not possible. Not possible. So I went in, double checked. No, all the numbers are correct, but why was it declined? Oh, well. So I'm thinking, I'm busy doing other things. I'll get to this whenever. So then I went and used another credit card, another MasterCard, and it was declined as well. So I thought, okay, time to make a phone call. Well, I made a couple phone calls, and yes, both my cards were compromised. And the people that I spoke to said, well, can we just confirm, did you make a purchase for $53 and something cents to some ABC escort service? And I went, no, not me. Yeah, no, nothing to do with escorts. And then the other one was, trying to buy games. And I said, yeah, no, I'm not a gamer either. So anyway, long story short, I had to cancel both the cards, have to wait till they're reissued, and
can't even do. Yeah, you got to be careful what you order online. You don't know.
No, exactly.
Those are phishing sites, So that happened to me. Somebody went with my debit card and took all the money out of my bank account. So I don't use a debit card for anything anymore.
Oh no!
Credit card, but because on a credit card, you have 30 days to dispute it.
Yes.
So I watch carefully. Excuse me, I got the hiccups.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Anyway,
Lisa Foster. Yeah, there's lots of scams out there. If those people would take the gifts that the good Lord gave them and use them for good instead of evil, imagine we'd be much further ahead.
I agree.
Okay. Now let's see on this. Adam Fox, he was the leader of the group that were going to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Right.
Was sentenced to 16 years.
I think it should have been life.
It should have been life, but 16 years is better than, of course, what the defense was looking for. Is this going to hopefully send a message to the mega out there that, you know what, you're going to do something stupid, you're going to pay for it?
Well, I think, to the ultra right, Christian nationalist, which if that's Christianity, I want no part of.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know, to them, it's almost like he's going to be a martyr. Like, oh, he got 16 years. Well, you know, he was doing what he thought was right, blah, blah, blah. You know, which is BS. But,
Yeah.
you know, but the thing is, if he got sentenced to 16 years federal time, and I'm not an attorney, he has to serve 85% of that time. 5% of 16, whatever that is, he's got to serve that time.
Yeah.
You know, I think
it must be federal because his two accomplices, I think one of them got, I'm not sure how many years, but he has to serve a minimum of 11 years. And the other one has to serve a minimum of 7 years.
There you go.
So I'm thinking, yeah, this is federal. So
I think that'll deter some people, but I think they're thinking if a Republican president gets in that's like Trump, that they'll be pardoned. But what I see coming down the pike is at some point the Department of Justice looking into a lot of these presidential pardons, and they're going to be able to prove that Trump did in fact sell pardons, which by the way is illegal.
Exactly.
And I see Trump indicted because I think the January 6th Commission sent over 4 indictable charges.
Yeah.
To the Department of Justice. So the Adam Fox thing, you know, with all these Proud Boys and stuff like that, I'm seeing, you know, my guys are showing me like the FBI, Homeland Security going undercover and investigating all those organizations. And I see them being broken up, those organizations, and people going to jail, as they should.
As they should. Yeah, I think so. I think the last number of years has really highlighted for everyone just who the players in the game are and just who the bad guys are.
And how easy it is for people to be corrupted.
Yeah.
Going up to the Supreme Court. There was a Christian nationalist guy, I forget who he was. He was a big shot. And he testified that when he had a meeting with Kavanaugh and somebody else in the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court, these couple people, the justices said, are you sure you want Roe v. Wade overturned? Because then we're going to have to do this, this, and that. And they said, yes, we do.
Yeah.
And so the whole Roe v. Wade thing, this shows that was already predetermined.
Yeah.
And that those justices got money under the table from that organization. So I see investigations for judicial misconduct on this, you know, by the DOJ regarding the Supreme Court.
Yes. Yeah. Not only that, but they are, I think it was the same guy who actually said that, he had gotten the decision on how the Supreme Court was going to rule before the decision was made public.
Correct. So how can they rule on something before they've heard the arguments? That just shows right there that they were prejudicial.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not supposed to be.
I think a lot of people are going to be they're going to be searching for good lawyers. Not that there's that many of them that are available. I think, you know, most of it.
Well, you know, you're in Canada, but people, you know, here thought a lot of this couldn't happen, and it did. And so I think it's a warning to people in Canada to watch out because it could happen there easily as well.
Yes. Yeah, it certainly can. I think, watching, because you know what, you may think that you kind of went through a lot of this by yourselves. You didn't. There was a lot of us that were with you. Not only Canadians, but Europeans there. You know, I still have a cousin who's in Croatia who I correspond with regularly. And I remember a couple of years ago that we were talking and he said, okay, come on, tell me the truth. Okay. Is Trump really doing this and this and this? And I said, yeah, he is. He's doing that. And he said, no. He said, we were talking about it here the other day at dinner. And he said, most of us thought, no, it can't be. They've got to be exaggerating, making it up or whatever. Nope.
It was worse. It was worse.
Yeah.
What about Abbott in Texas? I've got some questions on this one. He sent a busload of migrants to Kamala Harris's home on December the 24th or 25th. Freezing sub-zero weather. People didn't even have someone with T-shirts and just left them there. That was something that would be happening in Nazi Germany, not the United States.
Yeah.
And my guys tell me that he's going to be called to task on that.
He will. Yeah, he will. Both Abbott and DeSantis are they're pushing. They're pushing to see how far they can go. But yeah, they're going to have their come to Jesus moment. And
Abbott thinks that he can get by with anything. But I don't know, putting them on a bus and shipping them somewhere is illegal. I think it should be.
I believe that it is. It's kidnapping.
But putting them in the freezing cold with a T-shirt and all of that is really endangering human life. And there's got to be some crime in that. That
just shows he's what an evil person he is.
Well, what frosts my behind is really cold weather.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 50s here next week. Go figure. Talk about climate change. Anyway, is that people like Abbott and DeSatan talk about the right to life and the whole abortion issue. Mm-hmm. They'll put people out in freezing cold weather to make a political statement. Hello. Don't talk to me about right to life. You endangered a whole group of people.
No, they're only interested in the baby before it's born. After it's born, I'm done.
They're pro-birth. They don't want to take and it's not pro-life, because if somebody's pro-life, they don't put people in the freezing cold. They have people wear a mask. They don't become anti-vaxxers.
There's a lot that they're dealing with, but I've always gotten that Abbott, DeSantis, their day is coming. Just like Trump. I can't wait to be able to run out on the street with bang a pan and drink some champagne, because
we can be singing ding dong.
Which is
what about Santos that was just elected in New York? He lied about everything.
And,
I know. People are asking about that. It's
that was one of the things that I did.
Well, what it is illegal to do, though, is to because when he filled out the application, the campaign disclosure, he lied.
Mm-hmm.
And it's illegal to file false forms to the federal government. And so the fines can be up to 5 years imprisonment and fines. But it's funny, a lot of the Republicans are just kind of holding their nose and looking the other way because, whatever. Had a Democrat or independent or anybody else done that, they would have already been calling for impeachment.
Oh, yes, exactly. They barred from ever even flying over DC. Now, the problem that I have with George Santos is one of many, but to try to pretend that you're Jewish when you're not,
or that you've done this, and that, and you haven't.
Exactly. But this really, really bothered me for him to say, well, his grandparents survived the Holocaust, and yes, he's Jewish, and blah blah blah. And then he comes out and says, well, I'm actually Catholic, but I identify with a lot of things that are Jewish. So I said I'm Jew-ish.
Yeah, right.
Oh, let me find the nearest whatever and just smack you upside the head with it. Like, did your mother teach you to talk like that?
What my guides tell me, though, is that a lot of more people are going to come forward and call people like Santos and a lot of the people that turn their back and pretend like it's okay. You know, that I see, you know, these people coming to task for pretending that everything is okay when they know that there's lies, deceit, insurrection, bullying. It's become normal in that party, and it is not acceptable. And if they think they're going to win any election with that lies, deceit, insurrection, bullying going on, not going to happen. I want to tell everybody, buckle your seatbelts, because it's going to be a wild ride when the Republicans take over the House. But they're not going to be able to get anything done because they'll never be able to get it through the Senate. So McCarthy is going to try the obstructionism. And the only reason Trump said he was going to run for president is because he thought that if the Republicans took over the House, that he could control the House.
Yes.
Because he knew McCarthy would be speaker. McCarthy would be in his hip pocket. But my guides show me differently. My guides show me some Republicans reaching across the aisle and working together with the Democrats and giving McCarthy the heave ho.
Exactly. You know what? It's funny, but I have never, anytime that I've read on McCarthy, I either don't see him as the leader, or I see him as the quasi leader, but for a very short period of time. Like, I don't see him, you know, lasting for.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. He either doesn't have the votes, and he's made too many promises to too many people that he cannot fulfill, so his own are going to turn on him, or the next Speaker of the House is going to be someone that is a lot more middle of the road.
I intuit that you're right on about that.
Yeah,
that's what my guides showed me as well. But you know, the first year or two, it's going to be a roller coaster ride.
Of course it will. Of course it will, because I'm just waiting for them to get in so that they could indict Joe Biden, so that they can go arrest Hunter Biden, so that they could call in Hillary Clinton and see if they can't find her emails, and let's bring in Benghazi on top of that. And it's like,
well, if they try all of that, and you know what, they can try a committee, but it won't go anywhere. And if they try to bring it to the House to impeach Garland or Joe Biden, I don't think Schumer is going to bring it to the floor.
No.
And so it's going to be, and people are going to be like, wait a minute, we want this S show stopped. This is BS. You know,
exactly.
We're going to try to, and it's going to cause their party to separate even more. I'll tell you who else is going to have a lot of problems is Kirsten Sinema.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah,
the enema. Because she was put in office by the Democrats, and then all of a sudden changed parties to independent because she thinks she'll get the Republican vote. She just put a nail in her coffin. She's going to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. As did that Carrie Lake.
Oh.
Yeah, I think one by one, they're going to be taken down. And I think, yeah, like you said, people are getting sick and tired of the drama. And it's, I normally I would say SSDD, same, different day, right?
Exactly.
And that's all they do. That's all that the GOP does, is just try to recycle, because they've got nothing else. There isn't anything else that they can offer in, as opposed to what Biden's doing. And I think he's doing a fantastic job.
I think he's doing an excellent job. So
considering being up against the wall, he's done really good. And he's done good for all Americans, right?
Of course, not just Democrats, everybody. Well, did you hear that Carrie Lake was ordered to compensate Katie Hobbs for fees for the election lawsuit? That Carrie Lake said that the election wasn't real and all that stuff.
Yes. So, yeah, I did. And it was something to the tune of like $500,000.
Oh, I don't know how much it was, but I caught a glimpse of it. So.
And she has to pay that herself. It's got to come out of her pocket, not the campaign funds. It's out of her pocket. So I think that's a very, very good thing. That's a very, very good thing.
You know, Amanda Carroll says here, the divide strengthens. It seemed like it's time for love to win, light to prevail, compassion to reign, a meeting of opposites explosion. Well,
Yeah.
I do think truth is starting to prevail.
Yes.
And I think that the truth will hopefully heal us all. We're never going to be 100% together. There's always going to be divides. But this divisiveness that keeps getting deeper and deeper in this country, you know, for a while it's going to look like it even gets to be more and more. But
Yeah.
I see us coming back together, and our democracy will last, as well as the democracy in Canada.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But we
We
can't
just
take it for granted because we almost lost it, and we're still not
exactly.
lost it.
Yeah. That's just it. You know what? I am very much in favor of adopting the same law that Australia has, where it is against the law not to vote. If you don't vote, you can be fined. So I think because there's, the voting numbers aren't that great. Yeah,
Well, that's why we said everybody get out and vote. You know, I was
yeah.
in Savannah on the election day when they were electing with the runoff,
Hmm.
Warnock and versus Walker, and
Yeah.
a lot of the people that I talked to were so tired of the Herschel Walker Republican stuff, and
Yes.
a lot were for Warnock, a lot of them,
Yeah.
and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
and it was
Exactly.
the air was electric down there.
Oh,
So
I can imagine. I can just well imagine. Yeah, we have our share up here of you know, people that are, shall we say, a little challenged. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot before somebody gives them the smackdown.
got it.
Yeah, real quick, somebody is going to do it. And I think, part of it is because we embrace our diversity. So um, there's so
I
many
thought
cultures.
America did too, and pretty much we did. But we
Yes.
didn't have a group of pro-Nazi people marching. Was it Virginia or West Virginia? You
Yeah.
know, chanting what they were chanting, the horrible things they were saying,
Yeah.
the bigoted, slanted,
Yes.
shit show, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and Trump said, "Oh, well, there were some nice people marching with them too." Excuse
Yeah.
me, a nice person wouldn't be carrying torches.
Exactly.
You know, death to Jews and death to
Yes.
fascists and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Good people don't do that.
Exactly.
And so, you know, he gave a wink and a nod, and he's the one who I think brought out a lot of this underlying prejudice and bigotry in a
Oh, of course he did.
small of us, but they don't represent all of us. But they're doing it under the guise of Christianity and Christian nationalism. And that's not what
No.
Christianity is about. Christianity is, like you said, it's about being inclusive and loving and
Yeah.
caring and helping people. And if that's
Yeah.
what Christianity is about, count me in. But
Exactly.
this small group, this ugly small group, you know, when we were in Europe, people were asking me, and I was telling them that many of us didn't like Trump, and that, you know, we're not like that small group of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure
just that
Canada has groups too.
yeah, they made a lot of noise. That's why they got the attention, because they made a lot of noise. Um, whereas decent people would probably be a little shocked and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that," but they weren't nearly as vocal as the guys who were protesting and doing all that. And I remember way back when, well, when Tito was still in power in Yugoslavia, he held
It
those
kept it
countries
together. That's right.
together. Okay. And it was, nobody's better than anybody else. Nobody gets more than anybody else. And yes, it was a form of communism, but it wasn't Russian communism. It
It was
was,
different. It was more high end socialism. Not
yes,
okay, but he kept everything together. And
exactly.
his memorial, and you know, people from all over still talk about Tito in a good,
Absolutely.
pretty decent way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he held it all together. And it wasn't until after he died when the other little nations and so on. We don't have to name them. It's okay. You know, who would kind of elbow each other and go, well, you know why you're not working, right? It's because that other ethnic group, they're taking all your jobs, right? So all of a sudden, you had people who lived together side by side, who were neighbors, you know, who attended each other's weddings and funerals and whatnot. All of a sudden, are hating each other because somebody else said that no, these are the bad guys. That's exactly what Trump did. That's exactly what Hitler did.
That's how authoritarians come to power. They create xenophobia. And
Exactly.
This group is bad. This group is taking away from this main group. And I'm going to fix it. And they want the chaos because then they can say anarchy because I can take care of it. That's exactly what happened in the former Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
It's 7 different countries now, I think.
Yeah. You can't, you can never blame the other, right? Because there's always a group that you can kind of, you know, pick out and say, well, it's their fault. No, it's not their fault. You know, immigrants are coming to the U.S. Yeah, they want to have a job. They want a better life. They fear for their life. Are they taking all your jobs? No, they're not taking your jobs. They're doing the things that you're too proud to do.
Thank you. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And it's the same up here as well, right?
Right.
Is who's cleaning the toilets? Who's
exactly. You know, there's a movie I would suggest everybody see it. It's called A Day Without Mexican. And what happens is all the Mexicans disappear. And then they talk about how everything stops.
Yeah.
And it's really a good movie. I would suggest everybody seeing it. You know, Chat Wadsworth, I see here in the comments, brought up something. He said, but look how close Warnock and Walker were. I was disgusted by that. I can't understand why anyone would vote for someone so underqualified for a Senate position. Okay, well, how about Santos?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I agree that it is really unfortunate that it was that close.
Walker was kind of a hero down there because he was a football player, and I think people kind of thought he might be smart until he started talking about vampires and werewolves and like,
I know, and bulls and
then he lied about the abortion thing, and you know, a lot of that came out. But you know, Chad, in a way, you are right, but at least he did not win.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, Trump's base is going to be Trump's base. It's not going to change.
Yeah. And, you know, this, of course, entertainment purposes only, but I think that there was, you know, I don't think that Herschel got as many votes as were up on the board. I think that there was, you know, probably a little bit of manipulation there to make it look like it was that close. I don't think that it was that close.
Well, I think you're onto something. Not about that.
Yeah.
That part I don't know. But when we were in the taxi cab going from the airport into Savannah, you know, the cab driver, I talked to people. So what do you think about the election down here? And she was like, oh, they're pulling big shenanigans. I said, like what?
Mm-hmm.
Now, she was African-American. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, in some of the school districts, when people were going out to early vote, the Republicans were calling in that there were shootings in these different schools. And so people got afraid and went to school to pick up their children, and absolutely nothing was going on.
Yeah.
Did that to keep them away from the polls.
Yep.
So they planted false rumors to divert people away from the polls, but it didn't work. And so that's, I think, what you're picking up on. There was underhanded things going on, so that a lot of people who could vote didn't because of the shenanigans they pulled. And so
that could be
why it was so close, but it blew up. It didn't work.
No, and thank goodness that it didn't work.
Oh, there were shenanigans going on.
No doubt.
I love when Sherry H said Jesus was the first progressive liberal hippie. You got that right.
Exactly. Exactly. And thank you all for commenting. And I'm sorry I haven't had a chat. I have been enjoying this conversation so much that I haven't really had a chance to go through the comments and see kind of what everyone is saying. But I'm so
Kim Seven, I just saw said something, and this is kind of cool. She goes, I live here in New York City and grew up in Long Island. So many MAGAs in Long Island, and they don't care Santos lied. So disturbing. You know, they don't care because they're Republican base. And they'll, you know, it's not that they're drinking the Kool-Aid, but they don't care because they want to keep the power. It's all about them with white supremacy stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. In my opinion, anyway.
But. I think you're absolutely right about that. Is that they are because it's one of their own, they will excuse it and they will let it go. Well, and I think with a lot of the megas is there's a good number of them that are, you know, they can see the light, they can see the error of their ways, but they have been so committed to this for so long that it's very difficult for them to admit that they might have been wrong. So rather than have the courage to say, you know what, I was totally bamboozled and absolutely taken in, they dig their heels in, right? And they get stubborn and they go, no, you know, it's because they psychologically, I think if they allow themselves to realize that they made a mistake with Trump, then they have to allow for the fact that maybe there were other decisions that they made in their lives that they regret making those decisions. And that's a journey they're not willing to go on. So
who supported Hitler, and then all of a sudden when Hitler wasn't in power anymore, they kind of backpedaled, but it took a long time. And there was still people under the table that supported him.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, here, chat's making some really good comments here. Chat Wadsworth. He said, I'm shocked that bold-faced lying is acceptable. Well, okay, and that's true. Yeah. But look at the lies that Trump told. Everything he said was a lie. And the party, you know, they backed him because they were afraid of him. And now some of them are coming out saying, oh, no, we're not going to back that anymore. But my question was, well, where were your certain part of anatomy when he was doing that?
Exactly.
Now you come out and say you're against it, but where was your backbone then? Yeah. And so I see some of these people all of a sudden getting a backbone, which is good. But on the same token, Trump lied about everything.
Absolutely.
And it's coming. The scary part is a lot of those Republicans knew he was lying.
Yes.
And didn't do anything because they didn't want to rock the boat because they wanted to retain their own power.
Yeah.
That's what's
anything to stay in power. That's okay as long as we're in control.
But my guides tell me the truth will prevail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is already starting to come out. We see his taxes. We see his family turning. I distinctly remember, I think it was the early part of last year, where I did a reading on Trump and the family. And what I saw in the cards then was that who was really going to take him down was Ivanka, because she is his beloved, his everything. So her turning her back on him, that is going to wound him more than anything else. The fact that, she would go against him. Well, but he taught her everything she knows. So, you know.
My guides told me the women will bring him down. And look at how damning that one woman who worked for him, I think she was, I don't know, an assistant or something, that her
Cassidy.
Yes, that was really damning.
Yes.
And so, you know, the women will bring him down.
They will. And it's and it's funny because when you think the women who are in positions now where they can determine sort of what happens to him, you've got Fannie Willis, and there's Letitia James, right? Liz Cheney, I think, is going to do her part.
Oh, Liz Cheney's not done. She might not be in the House anymore, but she is not done.
No, not by far. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi.
She's not done.
No, there's going to be good things ahead. And before I forget, for those of you that are here, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button. And I have Mel's information down in the description of the video. If you go down there, I've got his link to his YouTube. Make sure you go over to his channel, like, subscribe, right? Clearly, you know, an intelligent human being. So, you know, go out there and support.
You know, in a way, what we're doing is very psychic. People, I know people will say, you know, we want to get to our questions, but the bottom line is, what we're doing is very intuitive because we're talking about, you know, political events, and we're talking, you know, about fact, but then we're also coming to some of our conclusions based on our intuition and
Absolutely.
what our guides are telling us. And so, and it's nice to have a conversation like this. I think hearing a conversation like this, maybe, you know, people are saying, yeah, or it helps them through the fear. It helps them through the uncertainty.
Yes. Yes.
I hope anyway.
Yeah. You know what? I do too, because that's the whole idea is, you don't want to live in fear. You don't want to make decisions based on fear. This is something that, it's happened. We are absolutely going to overcome it. We're going to come out on the other end, a lot better, a lot wiser, and understanding more fully what's at stake. And just know that it's going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. Every once in a while, even a good kid, can act up every once in a while, right? And so what do? You put them in timeout. You do one of these, they smarten up, right?
Well, so, you know, Chad came up. Chad's making these wonderful comments. I just wonder how many think of that line as an example of Christian behavior. You know, I think that Christians went like this, the so-called Christians, because they wanted their agenda passed.
Yes.
They wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. They wanted their agenda passed. They tried to mess with gay marriage. They're going to try to mess with it again.
Yep.
You know, it's that small group trying to tell the rest of us what to do and how to be moral when their actions are actually immoral.
Exactly.
So, you know, to them, okay, he lied, but we're getting what we want.
Yes.
And that's exactly the problem. He lied. It's okay as long as we're getting what we want. But how much do you want to bet if somebody took Abbott's family and put them on a bus and put them in front of a politician's house on a cold winter night in 0-degree weather and freezing weather? Woo, don't you think he'd be the first to kick up a storm?
Absolutely.
And if somebody did to Donald Trump what he had done to other people, oh my God, he can't handle it.
No.
That's the same with some of these so-called Christians. They don't like it when they're called on their stuff. But I think what's coming out now is, as I said, is truth, and people are being called on their stuff, and they should be.
Absolutely. So absolutely. Defend your position.
Correct.
You have a position, defend your position. Make it make sense to me. Right? I'm willing to listen to the other side. Maybe there's something there that I didn't know or that would change my opinion. But you've got to be able to defend your position, and with more than just, well, it's what I feel. You know, like, how many times have some of these people said, well, you know, it says in the Bible. Where? Show me. Well, I don't remember it now, but I know it's in there.
Yeah, well, where?
Exactly. Where? That's like years. Yeah, I remember a number of years ago when Ann Coulter was actually up here in Calgary. She was doing a talk, and she made some kind of comment about Canada being involved in the Vietnam War.
Oh, jeez.
And somebody called her on it and said, Canada was never involved. Oh, yes, they were. Oh, yes, they were. And they said, okay, well, you know what? When you get back home, send me the information of when Canada became involved. And the guy said, I never heard back. Well, of course not.
What was it? Sarah Palin who thought Africa was a country or something?
I think so. Yeah, but
Continent is not a country. What?
yeah, I
Do
know.
we have more questions or?
You know what? I think we kind of covered really a lot of what I had on here. And we're, oh my gosh, we're over an hour, but time flies when you're having fun.
It certainly does. We got to do this again. This was fun.
Absolutely.
I apologize. I forgot to post it on my community board. I got busy today with clients and I thought I got to, and then it just, normally I post it on the night before, on the day up, and I really apologize. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, don't give it a second thought. No need to worry. You know what? It happens. It happens. And absolutely, I would love to do this again, and yeah, just have a lovely conversation. Didn't pull one card, and that's fine. I still feel very productive.
Well, sometimes, I in my private practice, I don't use cards. I do sometimes on YouTube.
Yeah.
I know how to use them, but sometimes I think, you don't. I mean, the cards are very helpful, but sometimes we can just do it like this as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I'm constantly hearing the things and then try to find a way to explain it. And no, I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested, so it's okay.
Oh, I'm crazy. I'm my price ran out. I'll be like, no, teasing.
Oh, this was so much fun, Mel. So thank you so much for coming on. And absolutely, I would love to have you back.
Okay, let's do it. I enjoyed it. And
yeah, me too.
Do me one favor, you and everybody out there, please, happy holidays. Belated Merry Christmas, belated Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you choose.
Yeah.
And everyone, please have a happy and a safe new year.
Yes. Looking on your friends, looking on your neighbors, keep in touch, reach out. And just remember that this is the times they are changing and they are getting better and better every day.
And the Jewish, there's something called a mitzvah, and it means a good deed.
Yes.
And I try to do a mitzvah every day. It could be a smile. It could be shaking somebody's hand, calling in on somebody. Yeah. Just a kind word. It doesn't have to be huge, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly.
And I think that's how we help change the vibration of the planet, is just doing something good. If I saw an old Republican standing on the street corner who was a Trumpster, who was about to get hit by a car, what would you do? I'd pull that person out of harm's way.
Yeah.
I think, do I agree with them? No. It's hard for me to see their godlight. But the bottom line is,
they're a human being.
Correct. They are. Yeah. And, maybe we give them more respect than they give us. But when we do a loving act, we do it because we don't want anything in return.
Exactly. That should be the basis of everything that you do, is not because you're going to get something in return, but because it feels good. It just feels good to do what you do.
Exactly.
Right? Send out the good vibrations. If it comes back to me, I'm blessed. If it doesn't, that's fine. It went wherever the energy needed to go to make someone else's life better. So.
I think, if you want to better your own life, just do a good deed. It doesn't matter who somebody is or whatever. Yeah. Like I was coming out of a restaurant the other night, there was this group of younger men standing around. I could tell they were up to no good. And they were looking in my car, and I said, "Oh, do you have an interest in my car?" And I said, "Happy holidays, by the way." And they looked at me and they said, "Happy holidays," and they took off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to mug somebody when they're being nice to you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All righty, everyone. Thank you for being here. And we'll do this again. Just look for the announcement.
Thank you so much, Marina. It's a pleasure meeting you.
It was lovely to meet you too. Okay. All righty. Bye, everyone.